And now, broadcasting live from the Brickies. You're listening to Brickmakers Live Radio, bringing you the best in local music and all your favourite hits. Right here, right now.
Good afternoon, Norwich. How you doing? It's Wednesday and it is Charlie's chat time. We're going to be speaking to the awesome Roger James in about 3 or 4 minutes, so sit tight and have a listen to this. This is Holy Man. The awesome Buster James band there. Okay, so we are live on Facebook and live on air as well on Brickmakers Radio. So If you have any questions for Roger James, you can send them to me on Facebook. It's very simple. Just go on the live stream and send me your questions, and I will be sure to ask him. With a little bit of luck, I should have him right here. Hi, Rog. How are you?
Hi, Charlie. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. So,
it's been a while.
It has been a long time, hasn't it?
I know. I think I've hibernated for a while.
That good, right? Have you been working all through lockdown?
No, I've just been putting my feet up and cultivating my 3 acres of garden.
Wow, busy then.
Just been picking raspberries. What about that, eh?
Oh, that's pretty amazing. That'll be why you're looking so suntanned, Rog.
Yeah, a red nose, I think, is probably all right for Christmas.
Oh, perfect. And you got your lifeguard shirt on as well, so
yeah,
awesome.
hanging in there.
Cool. So obviously we haven't seen you for so long now. It must be a couple of years or so, I would say.
Yeah, we haven't played in Norwich. No, I can't even remember, to be honest. It was a while ago.
Yeah, we need to change that, definitely.
Yeah, it's strange because obviously with this stuff that's going on at the moment, heaven knows when the next gigs are going to be.
I know, it's a scary time, isn't it, for all musicians across the UK, really.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I feel sorry for the guys who are completely relying upon an income.
Yeah.
Because it must be horrendous for them. I mean, everybody's sort of jumping on the bandwagon and going online and doing sort of things that to try and bring in a little money, but I mean it's not easy at all.
No, and it just doesn't, it's not the same, is it? It doesn't give you that feeling. Watching something on a screen doesn't give you that feeling of standing in an audience and singing along to your favourite band.
I don't do it. The thing is, these people are too talented for me anyway. So I like live gigs. I love an audience, and I like working with people.
Well, you've been doing it a long time, haven't you, Roger? You started in the 70s, didn't you?
A few weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, we had a bunch of T-shirts printed, there's one at the back there somewhere. Oh, that thing.
Okay.
Thinking that we would probably be gigging loads this year, and of course it's like they're just sitting there going, "Oh, are you going to sell these or what?" No.
You need to sell them. It'd be limited edition lockdown tees. Look.
Oh God, yeah, they're certainly limited. It's funny really, because we were looking forward to a bunch of gigs. I mean, we were supposed to do the Cambridge Rock Festival. And apparently, I haven't seen it, so I've got no idea. I hope it was okay. They did one of these using videos from the past and whatever. And a number of people tell me it was excellent. We were on for about an hour and 20 minutes.
Wow.
But I've got no idea because I didn't see any of it. So there you go. I mean, it shows you what I know. But yeah, I mean, as it stands at the moment, I mean, we're booked for 3 or 4 festivals next year, but let's hope they're going to happen. I don't know.
I don't know. It's also uncertain, isn't it, at the moment? I don't know.
I've got a lot of friends and stuff, because of, I suppose mainly because we've been doing things like this Legends of Rock and stuff like that. And we've been playing with them for I don't know, maybe about 8 years now. And so I get to meet a lot of people from all over the place, not just this country but abroad as well, and I just wonder what the heck these guys are going to do. And I mean, you guys, I mean, let's face it, if you're going to run a venue, I mean, you've got to make money, and you can't as much as I know how much you love music and everybody loves it, but you've still got to make a living. And that's not nice. There's a lot of people out there who are in a bit of a state at the moment, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And it's the same with everything. The problem with being a musician and running a music venue is you are 90% led by your heart.
Oh God, yeah.
And that's why I'm never ever going to make a good businesswoman, Roger.
No, mate. No, mate. I mean, you know, it's a funny sort of situation, really, because my son, he works with lots of fairly big name bands, and he's, you know, that's a totally different side to things, you know, and management and money and stuff like that. It's a big deal, you know,
Yeah.
and it's probably even more of a big deal nowadays. And you know, the problem is that a lot of bands have to go out live now. Like in the old days, they could sell enough records not to worry.
Yeah.
But now there's so much competition. They want to get out there and gig because they're going to try and sell their merchandise or their records. And it's not an easy life. I mean, I look at some of the young bands and I just think, you know, some terrific, talented people out there. And you sort of think, my God, how the hell are they going to manage?
Well, that's the
can
thing,
imagine
isn't it?
if somebody like Bert Wheaton started playing today, I don't think he'd get very far, would he?
No. It's really difficult, isn't it? Because in sort of like early days, back in 70s and 80s, you would make your money from selling your music. Whereas since the internet, it's just worth pennies now, isn't it? And the money is in the touring. And if you can't tour...
You can sell thousands of tracks and, you know, well, it's not even worth talking about the money.
No.
I mean, when you get sort of... I heard a little story about... one guy, I won't go into names and stuff, but his whole income, and this is an international rock guitar player, and I think his whole earnings was $36.
Wow.
for a 3-month period.
That's shocking, isn't it?
Frightening, isn't it?
When you think the amount of hours that goes into it is
and all that talent.
Yeah.
You know, it's scary, really. I mean, you know, when you turn around and say, oh, you know, we haven't got enough gigs, or we're not doing this, or we're not doing that, I often think, well, hang on, there's people far better than me, and those guys are struggling. You know, why should I ever? I just love playing. I mean, to me, there's nothing better than a rock and roll audience, and just do it. You know, no messing about it. I mean, I like recording, but you know, the live thing is what I love.
There's no feeling in the world better than standing on that stage and watching a crowd jumping and dancing to a sound you're creating.
Exactly. And it's even better when you're doing your own stuff as well. Is that you sort of think, well, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love playing songs by other people, but sometimes, you know, you sort of think to yourself, well, they're a great song, and as long as you do a reasonable job of it, it's gonna work. But, you know, when you do your own stuff, it's like, whoa, here we go, let's see what happens. But it's fun. I love it.
It is, yeah, definitely. So going back a bit, you guys, when did you actually get together? Because I know it was in the 70s?
Well, the thing is, I was actually gigging well before I came to Norfolk, or Suffolk at the time. I was gigging, you know, in London when I was like 16 years old, doing lots and lots of gigs, big gigs, and it was that sort of time when we were playing with bands like Cream and Hendrix and all that sort of stuff, and touring, and, you know, we were headlining gigs, you know, and it was great. It was great fun. And of course, when you're a kid like 16, 17, 18 years old, you think the whole world's your oyster.
Cool, yeah, don't you?
And yeah, that was great fun. But I think when I eventually I sort of got, I left the band that I was fronting. I'd had enough management problems, and when I moved up here for different reasons, I, to all intents and purposes, I'd given up playing, but of course it doesn't happen.
Nope.
So I ended up getting together with some guys, and really good guys, and we formed a band called Crow, and that was like probably 1970-ish. And that band, well, just took off. It was great. And we ended up in a situation where we were doing lots and lots of good gigs all over the place. I mean, we literally were up and down the country, and it was just great. And of course, you could do that.
Yeah.
Because it was easier on the roads and stuff like that. You know, there wasn't so much traffic around, so you could get from one place to another. You know, I can still remember sort of going all over the place, and it was great fun because you obviously enjoy what you're doing. You've got a great little band, and we were pulling the whole thing together. And then we had major interest in London, and it's an old story, but basically we were in a situation where we had the whole band doing well, very, very well, and one of the guys in the band said, "Look," he said, "I don't want to go any farther."
What?
He said, "I love the band." He said, "But I don't like the music business."
Oh,
He
no.
saw the other side of the music business, which he didn't like. I understand.
Yeah.
It's such a sad thing because he's a great guitar player, and so the studio time and the deal that we had going, we had to forego, and the people went in, took our studio time as Queen.
No.
But there you go, you know. I mean,
Oh my God.
they were going to do it whatever happened anyway. You know, great band.
Wow.
But,
that's one hell of a story, though, Roger.
yeah, and you know, and then I got the band sort of back together, and then I lost the whole band to Bongo Jerry.
Oh, you're kidding me.
They went from playing to about 150 people a night to probably 10,000 people a night.
Wow.
Then, you know, we talk about it and we look back on it, and I've had like the guitar player turn around and said, you know, we never should have done that. But you know, when you're 18, 19 years old, and somebody's saying, "Look, you're going to go and play this, that, and the other," I don't blame them. You know, I understand. It was a kick in the teeth for me at the time, but you know, I understood. I'm not saying I would have done exactly the same, but you know, nobody wanted me. But there you go.
Fools, absolute fools.
And then that's when I put Buster James together, and a number of different lineups and stuff like that. And funnily enough, two of the guys who were with me in Crow ended up playing with me again anyway.
No
so
way.
That was cool. No, the thing is, we're all mates anyway. You know, we go back a long, long way, and for me, it's like just fun.
Yeah.
You know, I love it, and the guys I got in the band now, we all get on fine. You know, I mean, we all got our own things to do and stuff like that. But you know, we're not heading for the big time. But we, you know, when we go out and gig, I think we give people, you know, value for money.
Well, you love it, and at the end of the day, when you love what you do up there and you enjoy it, it spills over into an audience.
It's cool. I love it. I love it. You know, the thing is, it's not about adoration or anything like that. It's just getting on there and sort of getting down and doing it. You know, and that's fun. I love it.
It does affect you when you can't do it, doesn't it? I don't know about you, but I've really missed it.
I know.
And not being able to go and do that is like having your arm cut off.
Yeah, I feel for a lot of these people because, I mean, there's some great young players, great singers, you know, lots of great guys out there. And, you know, I used to think it was hard in the old days. But the thing is, if you were a bit special, you know, you rose above it all. But now you've got to be extra special to rise above it, you know?
Yeah. You can't.
I see some great young players. In fact, I do some, I've been doing a little thing which we've not taken out on the road, but a young guy, I sort of, I've been working on some songs and stuff. And in fact, we were going into the studio to record them. Of course, this has knocked it all on the head. But no, that's a fun thing, an enjoyable thing. He's working on his own anyway. But yeah, it's just a bit of fun, really.
That's what it's all about, really, isn't it? A bit of fun.
Yeah, it's lovely singing with somebody else. You know, it's good.
Yeah, definitely. I tried going solo years and years ago because I was skint. You know, you do what you have to, and I absolutely hated it. absolutely. And I can't think of anything I would really rather not do right now. And no, I will never want to do it again. It's important to be able to turn around and smile to someone, you know,
Well, yeah.
especially if you mess up.
Yeah. I mean, for me, you know, yeah, obviously the joke is, the drummer turns around and says, "Oh, well, you brought all your gear with you then, your mic," and yeah, we always have a joke about the whole thing. You know, I just say that I do the hard work on stage, but I don't know about that.
I know being a
I do
front
feel
man is
sorry
hard. It is hard work. You know, it's quite a natural talent. I think you either have that ability or you don't. You know, there's a difference between a front man and a singer. You know,
Yeah,
you can have.
I can't sing.
No, that is not true, mate. No, definitely not true.
I enjoy it. It's good.
Yeah, no, it's good. We've got a question come in from Paul Gage from the Rock Family. He says, does Roger think the music scene will ever be the same again?
I'd like to think it would be, but to be honest with you, this has really messed things up big time. I mean, okay, I mean, obviously, it's the poor people that are not here any longer. That's the bad bit. But I just think that it's going to take an awful long time. And of course, my worry is that the smaller venues and that who rely upon people coming through the door, because let's face it, you know, all right, you can turn around and say, oh, bands don't get paid enough. Well, you can only pay as much as income that you can bring in, and you know, it's going to be part of the profit. You know, I mean, and I think every musician understands that. And yeah, there's lots of people out there who will play for nothing, you know, because they just love playing, and I understand that. But once you start touring and stuff, you can't do that.
No.
I'm just concerned that, you know, at the moment, I mean, I think virtually the last proper gig I did was to about 2,000 people in Great Yarmouth, Legends of Rock, which I love doing. And you know, when you sort of think that, you think, oh my God, how the hell would that happen now? You know, because you just couldn't put that many people that close together. And I mean, people are coming up and hugging you and all this stuff, and it's like, ooh, you know, keep away.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know how it's going to work. I mean, you know, people have said to me, why don't you do something, you know, on the radio or on online? It's not the same.
No.
You know, I mean, I can sing away to my heart's content on my own, but you know, singing to a backing track, that's not me.
No.
You know, I don't get off on it. To me, I get off on that.
I can imagine watching you singing to a backing track, Rog. That would just be weird.
The guitar and the bass and the drums whacking you up the backside. It's great. I love it.
Oh, I know. Tell me about it. No. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not slating people for getting up and singing to backing tracks, because at the end of the day,
no,
you know,
I don't either.
good.
No, it's just that some people can do it, and I've got friends who do it, and they do it extremely well. But for me, I just can't get off on it. It's like, yeah, well, whatever, you know. Maybe in the bath or something like that. But not to present to other people.
No, you don't want to put that live on Facebook, mate.
No, exactly. But there we go.
Definitely not. We've got some more comments coming in.
Okay.
We've got Billy from Raw Edge. He says, I remember seeing Roger play at Hayden. They played in a wooden hall and the whole place used to move. I guess you could say they rocked the joint.
It's funny, actually. Hello, Billy. How you doing, mate? I hope you're all right. It's a funny one, because the strange thing was that when we went to play that gig, we had the guitar player who is now with the guy from Iron Maiden. I'm not good on names. Keep forgetting
Bruce Dickinson?
Oh, British Lion. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, he was playing with us at the time. I think the night before we did Ipswich Corn Exchange or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then we did this gig, and I had the road crew, and they said, where are we playing? And I said, not much farther. We just went down the road, And I said, there you go. And they said, no, but where are we playing? And I, there. And I said, what exactly what do you mean? He said that's smaller than the dressing room last night. And I said, no. I said, this is interesting. And do you know what? We went in there and the place, it was heaving with people. I mean, they just came from everywhere in Norfolk. And this little gig was in Hayden, which is a village that you can't drive through. You can drive to it, and you have to drive out of it, but you can't go through it.
It's a beautiful village.
And it was great. I mean, a fabulous gig, and the crowd were amazing, and yeah.
Isn't it funny? At some of the most unlikely gigs end up being the best ones.
Absolutely, it's strange. I mean, I know that an audience often makes the gig, but sometimes it's just the atmosphere, the business. I've actually played to a fairly small crowd, but still had a real buzz.
Yeah,
because they were part of the band, you know. It was good.
Well, yeah, it's not just a band that makes up a gig, is it? It's all those elements that bring the magic.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've got another comment here. Mark Beresford says, I've loved Roger since I listened to him on the radio, live on the seafront, Millennium New Year's Eve. Sounded fantastic, singing All or Nothing by the Small Faces. Awesome.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's, that was good fun. That was another special one. I think there was 40,000 there.
Wow, that's a crowd, mate.
Obviously not for us. They were only out for a night out, but there you go. No, it was great. No, I'll never forget that one.
Martin McCarthy says, woohoo, legends. Hi, guys. Lovely to see you on here. You've got quite a lot of people watching, so it's lovely to see.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, as we didn't know until a few days ago, really, that it was going to happen, did we? Because I've been messing around.
That's all right. Life's busy, isn't it, at the end of the day?
It's busy and doing nothing, really. No.
I bet you filled your time, though.
Pardon?
I bet you filled your time. I bet you're not sitting about doing much.
No, you're right there. I've got quite a lot done, you know. And well, the thing is, it's when the sun's out, you've got to get outside anyway. It's too warm inside.
Absolutely, definitely. So over the last however many years, Rog, what's been like, if I was going to say pinpoint a highlight of the Buster James band, what would it be? That's a tough question, I know.
God, I don't know. The funny thing is, you go and do a gig, like we went over to Spain and we did this gig over there, and that was great. That was really nice to do something different. I mean, the crowd were great anyway, but then you come back to Britain and you get a great audience. You know, it doesn't matter where you are, really. It's all down to the audience. And I mean, we've had some great shows, and when I think back, you know, over the history of Buster James, because obviously the lineup that we've got now has been together for quite a few years, but it has changed slightly. People come and go, and depending on, you know, what they've got on, really, I suppose, and that part in their life. I mean, Dick, or Rich Young, as they call him now, the keyboard player, he's been in and out a couple of times, but, you know, there's always reasons for that, you know, things been calling, you know, maybe an opportunity, and that happens. Mark and Paul have done other things. Del, the bass player, he's with us now, but he was with me a number of years back. So, you know, we get on. As far as I'm concerned, yeah, you know.
I remember the earliest lineup that I can remember, because we used to play with you guys quite a lot, didn't we? We used to support you, you know.
Yeah.
And actually, had you have not given us that chance, I think our paths would have been very different. So thank you for that. We had some great times with you. Can you remember the Ocean Rooms?
Yes. Yeah.
That was a good night. I've still got that on video, you know.
Have you? Oh my God.
Yeah.
I was a few weeks earlier. Yeah. I think this thing was down here. Well,
it was.
There.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, definitely. I swear you were born with it.
And it was a different colour, funnily enough. I don't know what's happened. I've dyed it sort of a whitish grey now.
You're just moving with the trend, Roger.
Yeah, something like that,
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite fashionable now. You know, you can actually, everybody's dyeing their hair grey. Did you not know?
Oh, well, that's all right then. That's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, I always knew I was going to be ahead of time. It's funny. I mean, with all the things that go on. I mean, uh, I got a call last week from David Clayton,
Mm-hmm.
and David wanted to do an interview for a magazine, and, it was quite bizarre really because I hadn't spoken to David for quite a long time, and then he was remembering things from the early 70s, and he
Wow.
said, "Do you remember when we did this? And do you remember?" And he said, "I still remember all those songs that you played, and I thought, great, lovely, and it's nice to sort of see people from way back, but then get somebody like Stevie Westwood. We got on great, and I mean, I remember when Stevie had not long joined Bad Touch. Um, I made him come up on stage with me,
Mm-hmm.
but, you know, the guy's a good little singer, and he knows his stuff, and the band are doing well now.
They
But
are, aren't they?
to me, it's like, well, come on, mate, get up, let's do it. And we did, as you know, a number of gigs together
Yeah.
at the Brickies, and always got on well, and I hope they do well.
Well, they're doing very well at the moment, aren't they?
Well, the thing is, as well as I do, the thing is, you've got to put yourself about, you've got to get out there and you've got to do it. It costs a lot of money, and who knows? The problem is you just don't know who's going to crack it and who's going to not crack it. There's a lot of good bands out there, and Bad Touch are one of them.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I
I,
know I think he's on the radio with Stephen Bumfrey this afternoon. So any of you guys out there want to get that on catch up, then definitely do, because that will be a good interview.
yeah.
Yeah, I saw he was advertising that earlier, but I'm so pleased for them. They deserve it. They work so hard.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, the thing is, they've done all the hard work and everything, like a lot of bands have got to do, and it's just a matter of whether you can put up with all that rubbish,
Yeah.
and get through it. Because I mean, they obviously enjoy playing live like we did, or we do. Um, I think the things that keep you going really is, when you get people like who get behind you, people like Stephen Foster down in Ipswich,
Yeah.
BBC, lovely guy, loved the band, followed us for years, and would always be there to say, watch this lot, and the same with Barry James, with Radio Caroline and Gary Zype and people like that.
Yeah.
The fact that they still play our music, on a regular basis is just, well, that's nice. And our big thing is that if we go out and play, yes, we'll do some of the old favorites. I mean, there's certain songs that we can't not play, even though they're not ours. Then our own stuff, and I think people are quite surprised when they find out we've probably had about 6 albums, and some of them are completely sold out, and but some of them, you just think, well, whatever, as long as people have enjoyed them, that's the main thing.
Well, that's what it's all about, isn't it? We've had some more comments coming in, actually, quite a few. Steve Gus Whiting says, did you play Dereham Memorial Hall way back in the 90s?
Probably. I don't know.
Can't remember that one.
Possibly.
Sometimes they all sort of just mush up in your head, don't they?
I know. It's strange, isn't it? Because, I mean, you remember, I know we've played Dereham at some point, but God knows, I don't know. I mean, when you're talking about hundreds and hundreds of gigs, it's like, yeah, well, I couldn't tell you when it was and whatever. I mean, it's like the ones next year. I mean, when we go out and play, we obviously got the Cambridge Rock Festival thing to do in Peterborough, and then we had another one down in Billericay in Essex, rock and blues thing. And all of these we were booked for this year, and they said, well, we want you to come back and do these shows next year, which is lovely, It's quite funny because we might meet up with Bad Touch because they're supposed to be on with us at Cambridge again. They were supposed to be on with us a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. It gives you hope for the future, though, doesn't it? That, you know, if all these things are being rescheduled to next year, you know, next year's not that far away.
No, I know. I mean, my worry is that, you know, they're not going to be able to pull some of these things off. It just depends on how. I mean, look at poor old Leicester at the moment, you know. 1 minute they're told, you know, you can open all this, and then, oh, hang on, no, maybe not.
Yeah.
I don't know, and I'm afraid these drive-in sort of festivals, I'm not really sure.
No.
I don't think the cars jump about enough for me, you know.
No, it's going to be kind of weird, isn't it?
I suppose if you've got to go out and play, I suppose it's better than nothing. But
yeah, but it's going to like looking out. You'll feel like you're playing at a park and ride, wouldn't you?
I don't, and I don't like that very much. But there we go. You know, what can you say?
And we've got Richard Goddard who says, "Big hi, Roger, from the Gloucester crew. Happy memories."
Oh, brilliant. Yeah. It's funny, you know, I meet so many people out there, you know, and sometimes you think, where do I know that guy from? But, you know, the trouble is, it's difficult. You know, you'd like to say hello to everybody that you sort of gigs with and stuff like that. I mean, I walked into a place in the northeast a few weeks ago. No, hang on, wait a minute, let me just think about this. No, it wasn't a few weeks ago. That just shows you, doesn't it? Now, it was before, just prior to all this locking down, and I walked into the place, and then I walked through the door, and people went, Mr. James, you know, and how do you know me? Oh, we're coming to see you next week down in Great Yarmouth. And it's like, oh, okay, fair enough.
Wow.
And the guy I had with me said, how the hell do you know all these people up here? I said, well, you know, what can I say? It's funny, very funny.
You're quite an easily recognisable guy, Rog, really,
probably,
to be fair.
There's not too many look as ugly as me, so there you go. That's rock and roll for you, isn't it?
It is. We've got Martin McCarthy says, I've loved Roger since we supported him at the Tower, Great Yarmouth, with Foot in the Door back in the 80s.
Oh, my God, yeah. Yeah, I remember that, yeah. Because it was close to home.
Of course, you could roll back.
He's a good man.
And Faye Hancock says, being friends with my Uncle Barry James from Radio Caroline. Nice to see you, Roger.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Billy's saying you couldn't play the Ocean Rooms when the tide was in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, dear, that's it.
Oh, there's a few people out there then.
Yeah, definitely. Martin McCarthy says, of course, I've loved Charley much more recently. Well, thank you, Martin, for not only running with the best music gaffs in Norfolk, but also a support of Monkey Spanner for always giving us great sound when we played there. I do try. And he says, as I say, two legends, two different generations. It's awesome to see you talking together. Oh, we often talk together, Martin. It's just we haven't for a while.
Yeah, exactly.
We must go. We go back 25 years as it is, you know. So it's funny, isn't it? Scary how time flies. Paul's saying, lovely guy. He interviewed me on BBC Suffolk about my rock family. Lovely chap. I think he's talking about Stephen Foster. Yes, he is. Yeah.
Good to see these people.
Max Acosta says, hey, Rog, taking time out from my busy schedule to see this.
God. America.
Wow, that's pretty awesome.
Hey, man, you know, do come over to England. Maybe you come see it at Cambridge next year.
There you go. Make a date. What is the date? Have you got it for next year yet?
God knows. Somewhere in June.
Somewhere in June, that'll do.
From Thursday to Sunday, and we're on Sunday night. And as it stands at the moment, it looks like Bad Touch will be on with us as well, so that'll be fun.
Oh, awesome. So you're going to hopefully have a full diary for next year. I'm really hoping that everyone's going to have a full diary for next year. We've pretty much booked up as much as we can.
So, you know, I mean, it'd just be nice to get out and see everybody again, you know. And I mean, when we do the Legends of Rock thing, you know, because the good thing about that one is that we don't have to travel far, but all the people come from all over the place to see us.
Yeah.
Well, not just us, obviously, but no, that's great, because then at least it saves us driving all the way up to Yorkshire and and Scotland. We've been pestered to go to play in Scotland, and they said, "You tell us when, and we'll put you up. We'll do all the business and everything." But it's very difficult, just to do, say, a shoot up for a one-off gig up to, well, the middle of Scotland.
It's not just up the road, is it?
Maybe we'll get there. You never know. We'll have a day out.
A day out? I think you want a weekend, mate.
A weekend out there, all right.
That's a long way to drive for a day out and an ice
cream.
Is.
It certainly is. By the way, I don't know if recently I got asked if I would do when it was okay to put this video thing out, that I'd forgotten. I'd not forgotten, but it was passed out of my mind that I'd done it for a Parkinson's disease thing.
Yeah, you sent it to me.
And for a guy called Gary Woods, who was a great drummer, worked all over the world, and unfortunately he contracted it, and but he still managed to be there and play and stuff like that, and it's a tribute to him as much as anything, I think. And it was the first time I'd ever sung the song, and they're all local musicians from Norwich, Yarmouth, all around the area, some really good sort of people, some top people. And we did several tracks, but that was the one that I did, and people seem to like it.
And you've never sung that before, in all your years?
I've never sung it before, but funnily enough, because Motley Hoople, you see, were all mates of mine. Okay. So you didn't sort of do things by your mates if you could, whatever. And it was lovely to when somebody played it back to me, I went, oh my God, because I went to the funeral of several of the guys from the band anyway, and we just go way, way, way back, and it's a strange thing, because when they're old mates, you don't think of them as anything else.
Yeah, of course.
When I was doing that, it brought a lot of it back to me, So, yeah, they were a great band.
So I'll put the link for the video up with this video, so everybody can see that.
Hopefully, I mean, it'd be even better if they could sort of link it and maybe sort of get some funds towards the the live music thing.
Oh, that would be amazing. Yeah, definitely.
But who knows?
But I think it'd just be nice for everybody to see it. We'll definitely put the link up on our site so everybody can go and have a listen to that, because it's done so awesome. Did you all record that remotely then?
Funnily enough, we recorded that. I can't remember how many years ago it was now, but we recorded it in Lowestoft in a very small studio, and Gary was obviously the man behind the whole project, because it was called the Parkinson's Project. But all the local musicians that were asked got involved in it, and there's some very good players there. And Lee Jacobs was running the studio at the time, who was an excellent bass player anyway, and he did it, and I must admit I was knocked out with the result. The sound was great, and the feel was good. That's what I thought.
Yeah, it sounds amazing.
I was shocked when I actually heard it. I thought, what's happened? I think I might have sung that okay,
You did. It was more than okay. It was absolutely awesome, and I was I put it through my massive speakers and I played it loud, and I was like,
that's the big thing in that.
Oh yes.
I mean, there's no doubt about it. Rock and roll needs to be played loud, and
you need to feel it.
It's got to be there.
You got to feel it in the seat of your pants.
Yeah, I know. I sometimes sort of listen to things on a phone or whatever, and you sort of think, it's good, but, and there's always a but in there.
Well, yeah, but that's a musician thing, isn't it? We're never happy.
I think so.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We've got a couple more. Kev Fletcher says, "Hi, Rog. When do you see you will be able to even start practicing again for future gigs?" Wow, that's the $1 million question, isn't it?
I need to practice because I can't remember the song. I'm not so bad on the ones I've written, but you know, even that I forget some of them. But I'm very often told by Dick, the keyboard player, he says, "I think you got that one wrong, didn't you?" You know, that's my musical sort of ability to change words.
That's every singer's musical ability to change words.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like that when I used to be on stage with Kaz. Honestly, no song was ever the same, even the ones she'd written.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's the art of live music. You know, it's not a mistake, it's intentional.
Yeah, of course.
To keep people on their toes.
Absolutely.
I do it regularly with our lot.
You don't want people getting complacent, dear, at the end of the day.
No. You know, it's all about fun, I think. If you get fun out of it, that's what matters.
Absolutely. Well, yeah. That's the whole point of music as far as I'm concerned. Definitely. Yeah. We've got the lovely Josie Tate says, hello, Buster James, and hello, Charlie South. Hi, Josie. Lovely to see you too. Bless her. Phil Berry McMurdoch says, Lee Jacobs, what a top bloke.
Thank you very much.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me, Roger. It's lovely to see you.
It's nice to see you again.
I know.
Even crazy thing is, with all this stuff going on, you just don't get to see people.
I know, it's weird, isn't it? And when you do, you have to stand a million miles apart and wave.
Yeah, well, let's just hope that you know, you've seen enough of me for a while, and you know
Nah, next time I see you, I'm going to give you a massive cuddle.
Okay, my love.
I promise you.
Great stuff, and love to everybody.
And
keep safe. That's the main thing.
Oh, definitely. You look after yourself, and I will speak to you real soon, and hopefully see you singing again real soon on our stage.
Great.
So
take care.
Enjoy yourself. Take care, and love you lots.
All right, my love.
Bye now.
Bye.
That was the awesome Roger James there from Buster James. What an awesome bloke he is. So lovely to speak to him. It's been too long, and hopefully it will not be as long next time. Thank you all for joining me, guys, and sticking with me. It's lovely to have you here as always. I'm going to play you one more Roger James singing his awesome song with the Buster James Band. This is off the So Far So Good album back in 2017. This is Good Times. The amazing, awesome Buster James Band there with Good Times. That was off So Far So Good album. I will put the link up for all the young dudes recorded by the Parkinson's Project, and Roger James is singing on that. I'll get that link up for you guys in about 5 minutes once I go off air. And yeah, make sure you go and have a listen to that and support that as well, because it's such a good recording and it's done so well. It's brilliant. I think it's just great. And it's so lovely to speak to Roger. Miss him. And thank you all for joining us and sticking with us this afternoon. And quick shout out to everybody who has messaged in. Thank you so much. Yeah, next Wednesday, we've got another Brickies exclusive live stream. That will be going up in a couple of days. So keep your eyes out and open for that. And we'll let you know what's going on. Stay safe, everybody. Much love to you all from us all here at the Brickies. See you later.